Karl Marx was a philosopher and political theorist who wrote extensively about society and politics. His political writings led to him becoming stateless, and he was exiled to London, where he did most of his important work. Marx's most famous work was the Communist Manifesto, which created the framework for revolutionary socialism. His ideas were adopted by Vladimir Lenin and led to the creation and rise of the Soviet Union. Marx's observations of vast wealth and severe poverty were starkly revealed in his own life. From 1850 to 1864, Marx lived in extreme poverty. He, his wife, and his 4 small children were evicted from their home and lost all of their belongings. Sadly, several of his young children died. His daughter, Franziska, was one of those children, and Marx's wife had to beg and borrow money just to buy her a coffin. The other surviving children lived on bread and potatoes and were taught to lie to creditors about Marx's whereabouts. Marx's loyal friend Engels contributed financially to support Marx. These were small sums to begin with. When Engels was made partner in the firm of Ehrman and Engels, his donations became very generous. Sadly, in the last few years of his life, Marx suffered from what he described in his own words as chronic mental depression and withdrew from active politics. He was devastated by the death of his wife in December 1881 and the death of his daughter just over a year later. On March 14, 1883, Marx died, aged 64, after a bout of bronchitis. He was buried here with his wife, Jenny von Westphalen. At his funeral, his best friend Engels described him as the best hated and most culminant man of his time. In 1954, their bodies were disinterred and reburied in this location. His works, finally acknowledged for their historical importance, meant that his original grave was not fitting for his legacy. This monument was erected 2 years after his burial and funded by the Communist Party of Great Britain. The tomb has become a pilgrimage site for the followers of the Marxist theories. It has also suffered at the hands of those who oppose his theories and has been vandalised several times. Security cameras are now in place to help protect the monument. Corin Redgrave was known for his work as an actor. He played roles in theatre, TV and film. He is best known for his roles as William Roper in the film A Man for All Seasons, as Sir Walter Elliot in the 1994 film Persuasion, and in 4 Weddings and a Funeral as Hamish. He also starred in many TV series such as Foyle's War and Trial and Retribution. In 2000, Corin was diagnosed with prostate cancer, which troubled him until he died 10 years later. In 2005, he suffered a severe heart attack. Sadly, this left him unable to recall many things about his past and his marriage. Corin managed to recover enough to return to the stage in 2009. He died the following year at hospital in London and was buried in Highgate Cemetery. Upon wandering around Highgate Cemetery, we stumbled upon this unusual gravestone, that of Emma Wallace Gray. It actually states on the gravestone the reason for her death. It reads, "Died 20th of October 1845 in the 19th year of her age. From the effects of fire, her dress accidentally ignited 10 days previously." Upon doing some research, we found the transcript of the inquest held into her death. This is the account of the event from her father as read at the inquest. Shortly after 8 o'clock on the 11th, a Saturday, he was sitting in his dining room with his back to the deceased, who was sitting at the table, when suddenly he discovered a strong light behind him, and before he could turn round, the deceased exclaimed, "Father, I'm on fire," and he found her standing up close to the table in one mass of flames. He caught her immediately in his arms, and with his hands succeeded in putting out the flames. But having no water at hand to put out the burning clothes, he took her upstairs to the kitchen. But in ascending the staircase, a draught of air again set her dress in flames. He immediately ran to get some water. When he found there was not a drop to be obtained in the house, during which time the deceased was rushing from place to place and screaming from the excruciating agony she was suffering. With the assistance of a young man named Gay, the fire was eventually extinguished, but not before she was dreadfully burnt and expired on Monday evening. Before her death, she informed her father that she had let fall a piece of lighted cotton on the carpet, and that on placing her foot upon it, her dress caught fire. The verdict was accidental death.